This is The Real Shift with Templeton Walker
and Kristen Cantrell,
where we break down all things real broker, why we both decided to move our businesses to real brokerage. We interview top agents from across the nation, like you're going to hear today.
All right, guys, we've got one of my favorite real agents on today, Dustin Brohm out of Salt Lake City, Utah. And one of the reasons I'm at Real, I've got two of the reasons I'm at Real. We just need Randy on this call. So welcome, Dustin.
Thanks for having me. I'm honored. I'm excited to have a real conversation, if you will.
You're our first guest, man. So we were just talking about it off camera, but the whole reason why Kristen and I started this podcast was to illuminate exactly, without any smoke and mirrors, of, hey, we moved to real brokerage. There's a reason why. We love it. Although it's not a perfect place like any brokerage isn't, it's been overarchingly just awesome. And we want to share that story. So we shared our story on episode 1, and we'd love to hear yours. You know, like, how the heck did you end up here?
Great question. Honestly, looking back, like a year and 2 months ago, it was not on my bingo card. Like I spent the last 6 years at EXP, and that's where I really honed in on the business model that I have today, which I'll explain in a second. But I wasn't looking to leave EXP. I wasn't and I sure as shit was not looking at Real, because what I had been taught at the time, of course, my team good, your team bad, and I had my jersey on a bit too tight. And in hindsight, it was such a disservice to me and other agents, because I just made my mind up that I was right, and that's all I was concerned with, was being right. And I didn't have any curiosity about what else was going on. Could there actually be a better place? Why was this other company, Real, growing so fast? And it's just wild. So it all started January of last year. So January 2024, I was having a frank conversation with a mentor of mine, Clayton, and we were business partners at EXP. We had been frustrated with the direction of that company in a few different ways for a couple years. And he's like, look, I think we need to look at this Real opportunity. And I'm like, dude, Real sucks. They only have 5 levels. We have 7, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I'm going to tell you something. He's like, you could be making twice as much money with half the agents. And because revenue share is a part of my business model, that really got my attention. And I was like, bullshit. But he's like, I've seen something that shows me that's true. If it's true, are you open to looking at it? And I was like, yeah. So that just started like a 2-week discovery process for me. But prior to that, I had always felt like EXP was the greatest company out there. Now at the time I'd only been with 2 brokerages in my life. EXP was like the first national, like, big brokerage. I started my career the first 7.5 years at like this flat fee local brokerage that only took $500 per deal from me, and they just left me the hell alone. So EXP was like this big upgrade. I learned about the business model. I was able to step out of production there. I learned that I could partner with agents and pour into their businesses and help them sell more without me needing to do it myself, and that the brokerage would share in the revenue, which was really exciting for me because I just like to help agents and I love marketing. So like I honed my business model there, but frustration started to mount. And, this is a business, and I started to watch my network size getting bigger, but my monthly revenue share check shrinking. And I mean, that happened over the course of like 2 or 2.5 years. And, eventually it's like, I'm not dumb, that I'm like, why is this happening? And there's just a bunch of other stuff happening at that time that I wasn't stoked with. So
Dustin, how big was your
Real.
network? How big was your network at EXP?
In the 6 years that I was there, I had over 700 agents come through my network. And when I left, I had 340.
So you had some attrition. You had some attrition, right? Which is going to lead to less money. But also, even when your network size was growing, it was somehow leading to less money.
Yes.
And now, within a year, how big is your network at Real?
As of today, I have 766 agent partners.
So awesome.
So
in a year.
bigger
It's crazy
than 6 years of effort. And we were talking about this on the last podcast. And I want to keep going on the story of how you landed here, but I just have to point at this as like, have you found that that growth has been like compressed into a smaller time frame because it's easier to sell? Like I was just saying, like, I don't like selling stuff that's hard to sell.
Yeah.
And EXP for a long time they were so good at what they did that it almost is a detriment to them now because everyone's kind of heard the message, whether that's good, bad, or indifferent. You're selling. If I called you guys right now and said, hey guys, can I tell you about this opportunity? You know, and they're like, yeah, Temp, what's up? And I'm like, EXP. People are like, bro, I mean, I've heard it 19 times. Did you experience that as you were still trying to grow? And did that stifle your growth?
That was the biggest deterrent or the biggest roadblock, and the biggest speed bump to my growth. Like it, and the attrition of that. And by the way, like my goal here is not to crap on that company. I owe them a lot. There's great people there. There's still great people there. It's a great model that's better than most. It's way better than most. But I'm also going to be honest and tell you my opinions, my perspective from my point of view. So it was because my business model is finding great agents and partnering with them and helping them to build a business. You have to do that at a place that's attractive to them. So I learned that, you know, even though some people wanted to partner with me and we wanted to do something together, the company was just a non-starter for them, for so many people. They're like, I just don't want to do it there because of the reputation and a bunch of stuff. And it just wasn't attractive to at least the people that I was talking to. And so it absolutely felt like I was trying to, you know, swim upstream with one hand tied behind my back. And another analogy I use, because their attrition while I was there was about 55%. And that means you got to bring 2 agents just to keep one. Yeah. And I mean, it's hard to fill a really bucket when there's a big hole at the bottom of the bucket, you know? And you know what that's like. Like anyone who's being honest over there knows exactly what I'm talking about. And I've talked to dozens and dozens of builders from EXP since who all had the same issues. So that was difficult. I just didn't know what to do about it.
Yeah.
You know, as I was preparing for this interview, I was kind of reflecting. I let money blind me from a lot of things that I shouldn't have tolerated. And what I mean by that is just things that were not in alignment with me or my business model, or things that were not serving those agents that I was partnered with, you know, those people that I have a responsibility to help grow, that, you know, things that were detrimental to them or just not as good as they should have been. Like I turned a blind eye because I had this revenue share check coming in, albeit shrinking each month. But it was because of if I didn't have that, I would have looked elsewhere a long time ago, you know? So it's like these golden handcuffs, so to speak. And I was far from this giant builder over there. Like honestly, I felt invisible over there, to be totally honest. Like I have some personal shit that I've been unpacking over the last year. Like I truly felt invisible, unappreciated. Like nobody gave a crap unless you are on the Real Trends list. Nobody cares who you are.
What's been your experience now, a year in at Real? I mean, I can tell from my vantage point, you are very seen and very heard and very important to the community. But
he's so plugged in there.
Oh my gosh. Like you're like a huge part of the fabric of everything we do. But what's been the experience now with Real? Like has it been night and day? And tangibly, how is it different?
It's certainly been night and day, but let me just paint this example for you. When I left EXP, this is not a knock on the company. Okay, this is just my personal experience. When I left, I had 2 people reach out and say, "Hey, good luck." When I announced that I was leaving, I was not connected to either 2 of those people, Kevin Kaufman and Curtis Johnson. They reached out and said, you know, best of luck.
Super
Hope
nice
things go
guys.
well.
Kevin's a really good friend of mine.
Yeah.
Incredible. And I was like, cool. I see how it is, you know. The very first company-wide meeting, it's called Real Connect, that I was on, Sharon personally like welcomes me to the company and like, you know, says it's not like I crave that, but like at the same time, I'm a human being. And when you feel like you're not seen, it bugs. But then all of a sudden when you are seen, it smacks you in the face and you're like, holy shit, like they actually care. They actually like know that I'm here. It means something to them. Awesome. So like right off the bat, it was just super welcoming. All the agents that I meet at events, super welcoming and just cool. And nobody cares who your sponsor is. They're just like, hey, welcome to Real. Like we're friends now.
I don't think anyone's ever asked me that. And I've been to 3 Real events now. Yeah.
Right. It's super refreshing.
Because
nobody's like, who's
one
group
Real,
are you
one
in?
network, it's a real thing.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah.
We were just talking about this on our last podcast together, but like almost to a fault, I'm like telling people like, hey, have you ever heard co-sponsorship? Like you should absolutely name someone else too. Cause like, I don't know. I'm like, it just allows them to connect to more resources, more people. And now Dustin, your skill set and my skill set, they're going to be a little bit different. And Kristen has access to both of those.
Yeah.
Right. And let's say we're both super plugged in with our families and everything. I could say, hey guys, I'm out this week.
Yeah.
If anything's lined up, I have help.
You have help. Yeah.
And the brokerage as a whole is why people should come. We're just like the cherry on top, which has been like such a blessing.
Yeah.
1000%.
I'll have to tell them a funny story. So when I was fully not looking at coming to Real, and I was talking to Randy, who's one of my business partners for a Moms in Real Estate Facebook group, and she's like, hey, did you just see that Dustin Brohm moved to Real Broker from EXP? And I'm like, I have no idea who that is. And she's like, well, he had an organization of 350 agents. I want to find out why. And that was the first time that I was like, okay, maybe I'll listen, because I had a 250 organization size, and I was like, why the hell would he leave? Because for a while when I was losing agents to Real, my comment was, well, that's stupid. Like, why would they leave the better company to go to the less than company? And then I would just tell myself, like, put your blinders on and work and go forward, you know? And so when I heard that you moved and I was open to the call, I literally got on the call with you and Clayton and Randy, and I listened probably pretty quiet and just like had an open mind and listened to their story. And I had so many relatable pain points that I got off the call, and I called my friend Rachel and I said, oh my God, I think that we have to move to Real Broker, and I don't know what to do because that means too many things for me. But it was really, really just eye-opening that so many people were in a similar situation to me. I feel like that was like the start of it.
It's really wild to look back and see it just see this fine thread that connects everything, you know, hearing how that, like, we didn't know each other at EXP.
Yeah.
I knew of you by reputation because of what you had done at Revelation.
I'm just kidding.
But yeah, like we didn't know each other,
Yeah.
but because we had similar experiences, it's crazy how we've all come together and become such good friends and business partners. There's a point that I want to hit, because I know not everybody listening to this is a builder or wants to be a builder or even cares about revenue share or attracting agents. The reason why Real is growing so fast, why we're gaining 1,000+ agents every month, the reason why I was able to, you know, to be part of 700+ agents in 1 year coming to the company, it's because those agents get plugged in. People come to Real, they get plugged into this one giant community where nobody cares who your sponsor is. It doesn't matter. I mean, it does to you, but it doesn't matter as far as like access to resources or support or events. And they meet new friends. Their production goes up. They use the technology and they become more efficient, and they can do more deals in less time. And like everything increases, and they're like, wait, this is better. And then they naturally turn to their friends who are at some random brokerage, and they're like, hey, this thing over here is actually pretty awesome. And then they join, and pretty soon, like everybody just naturally brings their friends and the right people with. Their business increases, their productivity increases, they're happy and having fun, and it just keeps going. So like these numbers that we're talking about with how many agents are in our network, that's because it's such a great place for those agents to be. They would not be here and they would not be bringing their friends if it was just to save a couple $1,000 on a split. You know, it truly is a special place.
You're on a lot of calls with a lot of different agents. What do you feel like is the top 3 reasons people are moving to Real right now that are high in production?
Ooh, that's a great question. So what the majority of the industry does not want, the majority of the industry wants to control agents and put them into a box. Mm-hmm. And that could mean as far as like the branding they use, the business model they have, what they're able to do. Like I was talking to this this producer in Ohio earlier today. He's like, I want to get into commercial. Like I want to do like apartment buildings, and I want to maybe represent my buddy in purchasing like a restaurant, and his brokerage won't let him. Like, no, you need to stick with single family. And so he's like, well, I don't want to, you know, and then he wants to brand himself. And so there's so many constraints put on agents in most places. And there's also, I call this big broker. It's more a mentality than anything else, where brokerages will just extract from the agents. Mm-hmm. You know, like, sure, they provide some resources. Maybe they give you a CRM and a website, but really, like, fees go up, royalties go up, splits go up. It's all about extracting from the agent. They just want you on a hamster wheel doing deal after deal forever. They don't want you to go build a business. They don't want you to step out of production. They want you to just keep selling and shut up.
Yep.
And there's a ton of frustration from agents who are now seeing companies like Real and EXP and others who for years have been showing, hey, there's another way. You can actually be an entrepreneur in real estate. You can be an entrepreneur with a real estate license. And we as a company will not only allow it, but we'll support it and we'll push you ahead and give you the resources to do it. Agents see that and they want it.
Dustin, you know, something that I saw that was big for me, it was like, even though traditional was kind of on the back burner, I don't want to be a broker. Some broker was going to go make their money from me, right? Like, even if they're going to take $500 at a time, if I go sell 50 houses, even just on a referral basis, like just a smaller, not even a mega team, that broker is going to make 25 grand from me. So when I finally looked at the math, I was like, what am I getting for that? Even if it's at a flat fee, low model brokerage, I think a lot of agents are finally like saying, what am I going to get for this? Let's call it 10 to 30 grand I'm going to pay a broker every year. And at Real, just to kind of rip the Band-Aid here, you guys, it's a 12K cap with 6 grand in post-cap fees. So you might pay 18 grand in, but then you're going to get $16,000 in stock. Correct me if I'm wrong there, right, Dustin? Is that correct? Mm-hmm. So you get 16 grand.
Maybe 24,000.
What's that?
Potentially 24,000 if they do a charitable event.
Yeah. Right. So now, I've admitted I have not even been on purpose on this dang thing for 2 years, which no more of that. Here we go. And I have this brokerage account accidentally sitting with 6 figures of income. That they gave me. Mm-hmm. I have a passive income check coming in on the 15th of every month that now exceeds my rental portfolio. Mm-hmm. For doing what I was going to do, which is sell houses. Yeah. That's when I always tell people, like, if you look at the math, you can't unsee it. Yeah. And then maybe, so I say that to say, in your conversations, have you had to lead people to that conclusion? It took me 2 years of being here to like fully understand it, and I had to experience it to now create the podcast and tell the story. Yeah. But are you seeing people craving that on the front end, or is it too abstract? What have those conversations been like?
I love your framing of that question. Everybody craves that. Mm-hmm. Not everybody knows it's possible, and they don't know that they don't know that it comes in this form, which is Real. Mm-hmm. So people the conversations that I'm in where people are curious about Real, it starts from a bunch of different reasons. Sometimes they're just like, hey, I see a bunch of big name people and like people I respect who are joining, like why? Like, I don't get it. And then that gets them open-minded enough to actually look, and then they start looking and they're like, oh, that's cool. I like that. And it, like you said, they cannot unsee it. Mm-hmm. So some of them have no idea that you get stock. Some of them have no idea that revenue share is a possibility. Most of them have no idea that there's like a wealth planning tool, and that we really do just give you all these resources to build a business and be an entrepreneur and build wealth for your family. But once they see that stuff, it's usually a cherry on top of everything else, which is helping them to sell more houses more efficiently and have fun doing it. Mm-hmm. The other stuff is just like, okay, it makes it a no-brainer, where like stock, revenue share, events, it's gravy.
You know, the favorite thing I've seen, Dustin, has been, you don't have to be a builder here. Like, you can get 5 people on your front line to open 2. And even if they just get a couple people, like, I have seen agents with a handful of agents beneath them. Like, they invited a few friends to the party, get checks on a rev share basis that really helped them that month. I mean, $2,700, $1,900, $3,800. Like, they didn't build some big organization. They invited a few producing friends over, and it's real passive income. Not just for Kristen and myself and you and the people that are going to go build these big organizations. We're builders. That's what we're going to do. But what about the agent that's going to bring a handful of people over? Because the model is flipped on its head, it is impactful for those agents. And that's what matters to me, because we're going to go win. That's like in my DNA. Can the agent that just wants to go grab a couple people and build some nice passive income, is that possible? And I'm telling you right now, I've seen it through this down market as transaction count's been down, and it has saved some of my friends.
Yeah.
That's been one of my favorite things.
Man, you're so spot on. Some of my friends, Kristen and Ashley Harris, they live in Florida.
They're great.
They're incredible people. They had homes damaged in 3 or 4 straight hurricanes. I think 4. Like, homes flooded, like, just ridiculous. I can't imagine. And they were telling me a story. Late last year, we were at the Real Rise event in Vegas. So this was in November, I think. And they were like, look, we had a revenue share check come, and like, they're just focused on selling houses, and they have a small team, and but they've been able to bring some friends over to the company. And they said 1 month they had no clue how they were going to pay the mortgage and like insurance bills and like all this crap that they had because their homes are being destroyed, and revenue share shows up, and it's like the saving grace. Like, they would not have been able to pay their mortgage otherwise. And I hear stories like that weekly. It's truly incredible. And to your point, Temp, it only takes 3 or 4 agents who hit their cap, which is like 5 or 6 or 7 homes. You sell 5, 6, 7 homes a year, you're hitting your cap. You bring 3 to 4 of those people to the company, that's $1,000 a month on average.
Yeah.
You know,
like
it's
that's
impactful.
meaningful additional income for somebody else doing the transactions, and you're getting compensated for introducing them to the company, and the company shares the revenue. It's crazy.
It is so crazy. What would you say, like, as far as like the culture goes, what's been one of your favorite parts?
To sum it up, like, I'm having freaking fun, because I feel like the people at Real are just my people, like my friends. We're entrepreneurial minded. We're content creators. We're not necessarily young, but like younger at heart, I guess you could say. And so, like, it feels like I'm in the right place with the right people. And it didn't feel that I made it work elsewhere, but I didn't really feel like I was in alignment until the last year here at Real. And Kristen, I apologize. I completely forgot your question, or where I was going with that.
More just the community, or like the culture and community at Real.
Thank you. Yes. So before I made my public announcement that I was moving to Real last March of 2024, I went down to meet Brad McCallum and Tim Macy and a few others who were at a Tom Ferry event in Orlando. And we were going to record the video, and then I was going to post this thing a week later. And I went to that event and ran into a bunch of Real agents who some of them I knew, some I didn't, but they were so damn cool and welcoming. They're like, "Oh, I hear you're coming. Like, this is so cool. Welcome." And I'm like, I'd never felt that before. And again, nobody asked, like, whose network are you in? Like, who are you sponsored by? Because it didn't matter. They're just like, "Oh, you're with Real? Great. That's good for everybody. Like, that's fantastic. Let's frickin' hang out and have fun." And that first taste, before I had even made the switch, was like, I'm like, if this is just how we operate, this is going to be much better than I thought, and exactly what I needed. And ever since then, it's just been more. It's just more friends, easier conversations. I feel like fish are jumping in the boat, and my job is to just grab as many as I can. You guys probably feel that in a way.
Really
I told
good.
Kristen when we met, I was like, watch what happens. As long as you're willing to do an announcement, raise your hand, say, I'm here, I'm excited about it, and I would love to connect with you. If you're willing to say that, people are going to call you. I wasn't, I think I'm almost at 40 personal sponsors. Nice. I didn't like track any of them down.
Yeah.
Right. Admittedly, I should have even been louder.
Yeah.
But most people were reaching out to me and saying, hey, dude, what'd you see? What are you doing?
It is a really good feeling to have people popping up in your inbox and being like, tell me about Real. You're like, yes.
Yeah, those are my favorite DMs every morning. Where they're like, all right, man, I'm ready to learn more. So
it's so great.
That never happened at the old company.
No.
Maybe the first year or two that I was there, but I've learned that if agent attraction is important to you, you need to be with an extremely attractive brokerage. It does all the heavy lifting. So now, rather than me like trying to convince people and sell the brokerage on people, I just connect them with it. Like it's almost like they want to push me out of the way so that they can get to Real as fast as possible. And my job is to just like be the I don't have to be the power source. I just need to be the extension cord. You know, it's been so cool. And that's not just because of the community of agents. It's the leadership, and what they instill into the entire culture. So it's Tamir, the founder, to Sharon, the president, and like all the corporate team. They are absolutely the right people to build this company the way that it's been built. And something that I still focus on, I think about every day, something that Sharon said, that we're not trying to be the biggest company, or bigger is not better, better is better. We only want the right people. And that, to me, that just fires me up, because I'm like, I don't feel like I need to go recruiting everybody. I just want like my friends to come with so we can like work together.
You know what I've also seen, Dustin, and maybe this will be one of the last things we touch on just to be mindful of everyone's time. In the recruiting model, everyone is so attractive and loved on during the recruitment, right? And then you get there, you sign, you move over, and at least from what I've heard from people at other places, it fades, right? And then they end up in this void where those great recruiters are out recruiting again, right? And now there's this system that was supposed to help you build and grow and actually sustain. And what I've seen from our top business people in our community and our friends, we're all trying to figure out every day, like, okay, the people we got here, how do we make sure they stay and they win? And absolutely. Stuff like this, right? Where, the recruitment's important. You want to keep filling the top of the funnel. But if you have a giant hole in the bucket, to your point earlier, then none of it matters.
Yeah.
Right? And I think we've all taken some personal accountability on that. And individually, we've created like real sticky value for the people we attract.
Yeah.
And Dustin, would you agree? Like, I guess this would be kind of the last point before we let you go. What have you been doing to try to make sure once you get people in your world that they're going to succeed?
That's a really good question. So I think my answer might surprise some people. I've learned this over 7 years now of supporting agents in this model. I treat everybody who's in my network as if I personally brought them to the company. I don't care who you are. You get my cell phone number if you want it. And like I help agents who are not in my 5 levels even. Because like I just try to do the right thing, and I feel like Real has incentivized doing the right thing. And more than that, like just to add some more meat to that bone, what's so powerful about this business model is if you're an agent and you're just looking for others who are ahead of you in the journey, that have already they've already built the thing that you're trying to build, they've already accomplished the thing that you're trying to do. How cool is it that you can literally get those people as business partners, and they are financially incentivized to help you build that thing too? So whether revenue share is important to you or not, you will benefit from it here, because that means that you get access to those who are now mentors and coaches of yours, business partners of yours, that like if you wanted to hire, like my mentor Clayton Gitz, he's not hireable as a coach. And if he was, I couldn't freaking afford him.
I agree.
But because we're business partners in this model, I talk to him weekly. Like there's sometimes I talk to him a few days in a row. And like I can get on his calendar whenever I need to, because we're literally business partners. The access that this model gives to the average agent who's in growth mode, who just needs some people to lift them up, is incredible. It is because of the revenue share model that gives the average agent access to someone who's like, hey, I've already built that team. I've already gotten out of production. I've already hit 100 sales a year. Let me give you my blueprint because you're my freaking business partner.
Mm-hmm.
I love it, man.
So powerful.
So I want to ask a question. This is just me personally. With what do you do with, I don't have my wallet on me. I was about to get my real wallet, my black card out.
Oh, yeah.
Do you do anything? Do you earmark any of those funds for fun, Dustin? Do you, like me and Denise tonight, it's my wife and I. Yeah, there it is right there.
Yep.
So I want that to be my question.
Okay, we'll do that.
What are you going to do with your real wallet? What's something fun you're going to go do with those extra funds? Do you guys have anything planned? Do you treat that as just normal income? What's something crazy you would do?
I love it. I treat it as business income. So yeah, it all goes into the same business account. I've switched everything over to my real wallet checking account, and I have a couple of them now. So it can, take some off for taxes.
We can have multiple real wallet checking accounts.
Yeah, they're rolling that out.
See,
so like I have a tax savings account.
Yeah, we'll tell everyone about while we're on it before we get off. Like the tax savings thing is huge.
It's so cool. So we have the banking platform through Real Wallet, and we're about to be extending credit lines to agents here in the U.S. as well.
Crazy.
But Real is incentivizing us to use their checking account with rewards and points, which you'll be able to offset your fees and cap and everything like that the more you use it. So if you have a bunch of production going through it and or revenue share, and you're swiping the debit card, Real's getting a piece. So it's a profit center for the company, and it's this whole fintech thing that's incredible. But yes, they are rolling out like this profit first banking model where you can have multiple different accounts. And the coolest part is, let's say you have a $10,000 commission check come in, you can have it set to where like 25% automatically goes to your tax savings account, 30% goes to operations, 10% to marketing.
So cool.
And you can have all these different accounts. So when the money comes in, it just automatically transfers to the account you need it to go to. And each one has its own separate debit card that you can attach to Apple Pay and all that stuff.
That's amazing, especially because I run my businesses off a model called Profit First. Have you ever read that, Dustin?
I've read some of it, but that model is what we're building.
Profit First, like the analogy they use is like, like when you have a fresh tube of toothpaste and you have all the toothpaste in the world, you're all willy-nilly with it. But then when you have like none left, but you squeeze it and you twist it and you still get a full stripe out. If you treat your business accounts that way, you force them to be efficient, but you have to have multiple checking accounts to run it.
Yeah.
And so
and the automation.
Because I didn't think I could run Real Wallet with my Profit First, and now I can.
Yeah.
That's like a game changer.
It really is. I love it.
So that's business. I asked because me and Dee, I'm not touching any of my rev share, and I'm just leaving it in there. And tonight for our anniversary dinner, we are going to book all of our summer vacations with that rev share money, which will be really cool. Like I'm not touching any of our normal money.
Yeah.
And my black card, my Real Wallet card, is going to pay for all of our travel this summer, which is going to be a lot of travel.
Yeah.
And it's just a blessing. I'm just so stoked.
That is so great.
I love that so much. Yeah. I mean, the one fun thing that I do have planned is when I hit a certain milestone, once I hit 1,000 agents at Real, I'm taking the family to Hawaii because the kids have never been. I've only been once. So
when do you think you'll like, we were talking about having targets, and this podcast, you guys, is a big part of our target.
Yeah.
I want to hit 1,000 agents by the end of the year. You're ahead of me though. I'm at like 530. You're at 7 something. You fucker. Which is so sick, dude. Like,
I love it.
When do you think you hit 1K?
My projections say July, but my birthday is June 24th. So by my birthday.
Let's go. Where can people find you, Dustin?
Massive Agent online, Massive Agent podcast. Pretty easy to find when you put out a bunch of content. So
such a good name too.
I know, it's such a good name.
That's so crazy because when I first came up with it, I laughed out loud because I thought it was so freaking stupid.
Now you're stuck with it forever.
Now I'm stuck with it. Yeah, it's whatever. But I appreciate it, guys. What an awesome conversation. I'm honored to be partnered with both of you. See, okay, coming full circle on that co-sponsorship deal. Temp, you and I, we're not connected at Real, but because of Kristen and the co-sponsorship, we are now business partners through her. And so like it's such a cool culture where everybody's partnered together or can be. I think that just helps the culture, makes it like this woven quilt, so everybody's connected. It's cool.
It's this conduit that allows big business builders to get in business together without operating agreements and attorneys and like all the bullshit that comes with merging businesses. We can genuinely merge our businesses, be connected, collaborate, be financially incentivized, go win together, and it's simple. So I think it's the greatest model. I don't know why it took me 2 years to start telling people about it.
Well, here we are.
Well, Dustin, man, we appreciate you, brother.
Thank you. This is fun. I'm excited to hear more of these episodes.
Yeah, man, it's going to be good, and it's going to get all clipped down. You guys, we're here at Be Real Media here in Chandler, Arizona. They shoot all of our content. You guys are going to see this coming out on socials, and we can't wait to share it.
Can't wait.
All right,
thanks,
Dustin.
guys.